Hey guys, first Guardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Marksman Carbine build for the Tactical class in Space Marine 2 Patch 12. Now, there is a little bit of a lesser known buff this patch, which is that the base damage of the ammo reserve option for the Marksman Carbine actually got up by like 15%, and now does pretty much equivalent damage on the headshot to the ×2 multiplier version, which is pretty insane because this one is way more ammo efficient and a ton of fun to use, and having that ammo efficiency also opens up options for things like Emperor's Judgment here, or even stuff like Steady Aim, so a pretty good option overall, and currently my preferred. Now, for the perk tree on this, I do take the perk here, Headhunter first, moving here into the perk Rapid Health. When your health's below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores your health by 10%. This perk is not that good in a Marksman Carbine. The main place you're triggering this on is things like Spore Mines or Cultists, but for the most part, this is definitely better on stuff like the automatic variant, but it's still a pretty good option to have. Next perk here is Home Precision, moving here into the perk Divine Might for a 10% damage increase. Then I grab the perk here, Headhunter, down to the perk Extended Magazine, and then I pick up Divine Might again for another 10% damage increase, and then I go up here into the perk Headhunter for another 10% headshot damage increase. This gun actually doesn't have Tactical Precision as a perk at all, which is pretty funny, but that pretty much gives you a full reign to just take all the free damage perks with no downside. And next perk here is Cleaving Fire into the perk here, Adamant Hunter. When your health is below 30%, headshots will deal 25% more damage. A 25% damage increase is very substantial in this game for your headshots, and being below 30% HP on a tactical does kind of suck, but when this is actually active, the damage buff is definitely worth it. Next perk here is Perpetual Precision, and the final perk is Recoupment. Killing a Majoris or higher enemy with a headshot of this weapon restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk is just free damage reduction, and damage reduction on the tactical is pretty hard to find. Really, this class is super limited on armor regen, even compared to Tech Marine. Tech Marine has way more armor regen despite having lower HP, so Tactical can definitely suffer from that, even though he does have the perk down here, Fortitude. So picking up some type of damage reduction here, that does help you out a lot, which is why I pretty much always pick this up. And really, you can find this perk on like every single bolt weapon in the entire game, and I pretty much grab it on all of them. And that's pretty much all there is for the Marksman Carbine. Now for my secondary weapon selection, I do take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, Retribution's Bequest, mainly because I take the perk over here, Balanced Distribution, which does make me lose 15% damage on my secondary weapon, and because of that, the one-shot perk effect here with No Help Is Coming, this is not affected by that damage debuff at all, so you're getting full value out of No Help Is Coming no matter what, which is a pretty great synergy with this. Now I will say, if you are fighting Chaos, a Plasma Pistol is definitely better for like staggering Soul Can Terminators and stuff like that, but usually I would not take a Marksman Carbine to them anyways, but to be honest, it doesn't perform that poorly. But for this build, I'm taking the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol because this is the highest gun strike damage in the game, and for Tyranids especially, it performs quite well. Now, for the perk here, I do take Divine Might first, moving here into the perk Perpetual Penetration. Then I pick up the perk Increased Capacity, Extended Magazine, and the perk Death Strike. After killing a Majoris or higher enemy in melee combat, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This is just a free 25% damage buff while your weapon is equipped, but keep in mind, if you don't have your weapon equipped when you trigger this, and you also swap off of it while the 10 seconds are active, you will lose the effect completely, which does kind of suck, but just keep that in mind. Next perk here is Great Might, up here into the perk Discipline. Then I pick up the perk here, Strong Finish, Headhunter, Gunstrike Reload, and Tactical Precision, because headshot damage is, once again, literally all that matters on these guns half the time, so definitely grab this one, and that's pretty much all there is for this weapon selection. Now, like I said before, when you were fighting Chaos, you could take Plasma, but this weapon's also not, like, terrible against Chaos at all. In fact, Chaos Spawn are really annoying in this game, and being able to one-shot them to stop the reinforcement call and the body shot is actually pretty damn useful, because for whatever reason, Chaos Spawn are a little bugged in this game at the moment, that some of your melee attacks will just not interrupt the reinforcement call, even on, like, multiple heavies, which is pretty damn obnoxious, and this perk kind of circumvents that entirely. So that's why I do take this versus them sometimes. Now, for my melee weapon selection, I do take the Heroic Combat Knife Argent Edge, mainly because this is the best fencing weapon in Space Marine 2 currently, and also like the best offensive tool in the entire game, because the heroic perk effect down here is called a Scathing Retort. The riposte window is shorter, but each riposte deals damage. All this means by riposte is perfect parry, so your perfect parry window is a bit shorter, and each perfect parry will deal a little bit of damage. Now, the hidden perk effect here is that you will parry stagger any enemy on the first parry no matter what. There are multiple combo chains in Space Marine 2, like a triple Ravener hit or a melee terminator, where you will get a perfect parry, but it will not stagger and give you a gunstrike opportunity. This gun will stagger on every parry no matter what, making it the best offensive weapon in Space Marine 2 currently, and also opening you up to be able to use perks like Relentless Pursuit and not really have any downside, because usually you take the no knockback perk on this class, you want to be like super safe, but this one is so damn strong on the defense that Relentless Pursuit is just like a free damage buff for both your primary and secondary, so a really good synergy for that. And for the perk tree here, I just go down the top tree first, starting with the perk Armored Strength. If you have armor remaining, melee damage increases by 10%, and moving here into the perk Sharp Impact. Right and left Skull Crusher AoE radius increases by 50%. The main reason I take this perk over the perk down here, Kinetic Energy, is that this weapon only has a 3+ speed, making consecutive heavy attacks not super good on it, but I do prefer this one. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. Then I pick up the perk here, Combined Onslaught. Light combo attacks with this weapon deal 10% more melee damage. Now, I do find myself using light combos way more often than heavy attacks, so you could take heavy onslaught if you want. Next perk here is Tide of Battle, up into the perk Shoulder Bash. Then I grab the perk here, Reeling Blow, and then I pick up Extremis Slayer, or excuse me, Terminus Slayer here. Though alternatively, you could just skip over this perk, or like go down here for Shadow Stab, or even things like Extremis Slayer if you skip over Shoulder Bash. That is up to you. There are a lot of ways to build this knife, and none of them are like particularly epic for damage, because the main purpose of this weapon is just to have that parry gunstrike ability, but for the most part, that's everything there is to say about the Argent Edge. Now for the Tacticals perk tree, I do take the perk Balance Distribution first. Your primary weapon deals 15% more damage, but your secondary weapon deals 15% less damage. This is a perk that got buffed by 5% for both the positive and negative effects in patch 12. It is a really strong option for upping your primary damage, and the secondary weapon loss here doesn't matter too much. It does kind of suck, but like I said before, the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, the Heroic effect here, it does work without that. You will still one-shot guys in the head while they're calling reinforcements, and the perk effect here with aligned aim will also make up for that loss, so pretty good option. Next perk here is Relentless Pursuit. After a gun strike, range damage increases by 25% for 10 seconds. We do have an Argent Edge, so gun strikes are super easy to get for us, and a 25% damage buff on range is really strong, and a 10-second uptime is pretty damn good as well. Next perk here is Emperor's Judgment. After a finisher, the equipped ranged weapon reloads automatically, and your ranged weapons deal 20% more damage for 10 seconds. Now, like I mentioned before, the Marksman Carbine definitely has the benefit of taking this perk without having to actually deal with any huge ammo issues. Now, I will say, if you want to take Emperor's Vengeance, you definitely can. This will still help you out. I just took this one today because a little bit more damage and instantaneous reload is pretty nice. Next perk here is Aligned Aim for a range damage increase of 15%. Then I pick up the perk here, Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores your Auspex scans charge by 50%. This is by far the best in this column here, in my opinion. I mean, you could take Priority Targeting if you want. This one is pretty good, but as far as like getting your Auspex cooldown back, this is one of the best perks in the entire game, mainly because the Auspex already has a 90-second cooldown, and a 50% reduction that is very substantial, and usually you want to Auspex Extremis and Terminus anyways. Next perk here is Precise Calibration and combined with Concentrated Fire for a 195% damage bonus on your Auspex, and Concentrated Fire also makes your Auspex scan zone last 60% longer, which is pretty nice, but they will lose the scan if they leave the scanned area, so to kind of circumvent that, at least against bosses, you want to use this on a Hellbrute that is slamming their hammer, a Carnifex that is rammed into a wall, or a Neurothrope when they're shouting or just not moving too much. Just keep that in mind. Final perk here is Radiating Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant AoE damage in a 10-meter radius. The cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is like one of the most clutch signature perks in the entire game. I talk about it all the time. You just take this one. Signal Jammer and Mark for Death are just not remotely as powerful as this one, and the ability to one-shot Majoris in a 10-meter radius is kind of insane. And for the Prestige perk options, I just take Acuity for headshot damage because we are a headshot damage build. Into the perk here, Skilled Supplier, Resilience, and Fortitude. That is a pretty standard option, though alternatively you could pick up Second Look instead of Skilled Supplier. That is up to you, and that's pretty much everything there is for this build here. And that is pretty much everything I have to say about the Marksman Carbine. Now, this gun is super underrated right now. I've not seen a lot of people talk about it. It is currently one of my favorite bolt weapons on both the Sniper and Tactical in the game, and does overperform in a lot of scenarios. So hopefully this build guide helped you, and if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And if you want to catch me live to ask me questions about the game or just come hang out, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description alongside a link to my community Discord. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye. Argent Edge overperforming as usual. Good FG, what's up, Snow Leppa? Oh god. FFG, happy Friday. What's up, Dark Magic? We're currently on some guys. God, this gun is nut. All the gods can't destroy the universe because there will be no more war emotion. People seduced, but the rotten can. Nurgle is undervalued. If anything, Nurgle's overvalued, I feel like. He's like everywhere in this game. Not in this game, like in 40k. You have to do what's your favorite food? Probably coffee. Does that count? Water? That's probably it. Soccer Bull's still king for raw damage. It definitely is. Alright, let's grab this, I guess.
You need to acquire the Astra Militarum demolition codes required to deploy and arm their ordnance. Source one from any soldier you see.
Can someone tell me as a new bulwark / new the game, is block power axe a solid choice, or should I focus on different weapons? So the power axe is a solid choice. You can level it up with the block one. The block one's still very good. Block axe is still very strong on bulwark. Those are balance axe. In some ways, block might actually be better on him in the balance, just because he gets more triggers of the intimidating aura. Greetings, honored cousin. The Emperor salutes. Hello, hello. Okay. Where's the other body? There's always one tucked away in here, too. I honestly can't tell you how many times I have wandered in that one area. Like, you get a boss fight right at the beginning of this map, and you have to go wander all the way to the ammo crate because you run out. Happens all the time. Map has quite the ammo drought. Balance axe is better than block now? Depends. Yo, TG, what's the best class right now? I mean, it's Bulwark or Assault. Bulwark and Assault are the two best classes in the game. This is where we sow the enemy's defeat, brothers. When's patch 13 dropping? Not until like May. Look at all these guys. Electra's running at Argent Edge. Argent Edge is pretty peak. Not only is it a very strong heroic, it's also very fun to use. There we go. Anywhere's a new Deathwatch armor having withdrawals, but there's going to be Deathwatch cosmetics coming for Tech Marine. There are going to be Deathwatch cosmetics coming for all classes eventually, but like not right now. That's probably going to be in the Redacted pack. I mean, the Redacted pack is almost certainly going to be Deathwatch in my opinion. I don't know what else they would do. Like people are like doing some crazy stuff, but Redacted, even the text looks like a Deathwatch mission text from the campaign. I'm wondering how to distinguish the melee attacks from the Carnifex. Like sometimes he delayed, sometimes quick, how to set them apart. I mean, there are different animations for them, but usually when he gets below half HP or to lower HP levels, he will go in rage and he'll start like attacking very quickly. Before that, he does it less. If you see a long wind up, it's a slow one. Argent is giving you bad habits though, in what way? It's technically a harder to use weapon than the other fencing options. If anything, it should give you better habits because you'll be parrying on like the initial hit. What's the fastest way to level up weapons? I have a whole leveling guide. The only thing that's out of date in that is siege mode. Siege mode. First 5 waves thingy.
Rates of activation have been observed. The generator's handling the machine god's name. Crane sequencing initialized. Delivering payload. We must intercept the generator soon.
Generator 2. My second favorite generator. To clear off most of them. Does Godzilla approach the generators? Yes. If I Godzilla, well, that's a waste of an ultimate, whatever.
Let us keep that swarm from ever reaching generator 4. Violent dismantling of generator 4 in progress. Punish the ignorant iconoclasts.
The best heroics for sniper, thinking about the knife, both the heroic knives are probably the two best heroic melees in the game currently anyways, so can't go wrong with either. This gun's fucked. Any advice on a deal with Barb and Devour Warriors fan playing Assault? Well, Barb Strangler's fan is more like, that's a positioning thing almost entirely. But also, Devourers, you can dodge through their shots to an extent. You can also use your crazy mobility on them.
Overlooking the Cryptomethium fields. It will make a good vantage for your ambush.
What was the hotfix? They just fixed up the Extremis spawns that are randomly spawning during bosses, because in patch 12, Extremis spawns were just going off in the middle of boss fights. When they shouldn't have been. Oh, armor boots, I like that. What's with all the sniper Tyranids at the moment? I'm pretty sure that was an intentional saver change because sniper Tyranids are really good versus a sentry gun against Tech Marine. They probably added a bunch of extra to the spawn pool for that. Either that or it's a bug. Because people were asking about this and Focus actually responded a little bit and said like, oh, we're not sure if it's a bug or not. Because Focus, you know, they're not, the community managers are not actually Saber. They're from the publisher. So they don't know for sure. They aren't in like one-to-one, or I should say they're technically in direct communication with the devs, but like they aren't like on a phone call every day with them. So they don't know everything that's coming until they're told. And some of the changes they don't even know about. What's up, Peace? Feels good to be here again. Welcome, welcome. So what time are you going to play? That's what I feel like. Difficulty? This is absolute. Ain't no way shit is dying 3 to 5 shots. I mean, with a Marksman Carbine fully stacked for damage, they definitely are. Right, peek, peek, peek. Tim Brown with a $50 super chat. Love the gameplay loop for this game. My friends and I play all the time. Thanks for keeping it going. Consistent, great content. First thing when he is. Thank you, Tim. It has been quite the, I'm gonna be thinking about Space Marine 2 for the next 10 years plus. I'll look back, honestly, I'll probably be on my deathbed and be like, ah, yes, 2024, when I first started playing that game. But by then, I'll probably have like 10,000 hours in it. And then I'll either say, like, and how shit Total War 40K's trilogy was. And Space Marine 3. God, bring me back to Space Marine 3. Like, what if this shit all peaks with Space Marine 2? What if Space Marine 3 is donkey? You know, you gotta think on some level, like, the team that's making this game right now is not the team that worked on the game originally. So, like, how much communication is there for the balancing decisions they made? This game's balance is, like, light years better than the original balance was for the game. Does say that I'm itching for Necrons. I mean, I would like Necrons as well, but like, what if the next game launches in like a just as bad of a balance state as this one did? Yeah, a little pro tip: if you're trying to if you're dealing with a biovore, just shoot them in the turret when they're planted. They don't take any damage in the head, but if you shoot them in the turret, especially with things like the heavy bolt rifle, they will take double damage. Heavy bolt rifles that do double damage to the turret. Or I should say double body shot damage, so crack and penetrator rounds can do a lot to them. Here's in that build. When I'm 80 years old, I remember Mr. FTG fondly. Bold of you to presume that you're going to live to 80 years old, Norman Osborn. Didn't you die to Spider-Man?
Main swarm sighted. We await your signal, Captain. Dig in. We need that bomb triggered for optimal yield. Orbital scan estimates the bulk of the swarm will not be in position for a while yet. Keep your heads and get it done.
Something of a zombie myself.
I see them coming.
Pre-Goblin. Yeah, dude, that doesn't mean your life expectancy is any better than it is post-Goblin. That just means you're still the CEO, dude. Spider-Man 1 hasn't happened yet. I've seen the future. You don't live to be 80, Norman Osborn. You die in a graveyard, or you die in like an abandoned pit with Spider-Man or something. Killed by his own glider.
The bulk of the swarm is continuing along the predicted path. Continue holding.
How fun is this game? It's on sale. I'm looking at it for a while. It's very fun. It's on sale right now? Is it actually? Just on sale like a week ago. I don't think it's on sale on Steam. You played Vermintide 2 and Darktide and like those games? It's very different. Vermintide 2 and Darktide have much better melee systems than this game does, but this game also looks significantly better. I would say this game is far more cinematic. Like, it has a great gameplay loop, but the number one thing in this game is like how cinematic the gameplay loop, or excuse me, how cinematic the game is on top of that gameplay loop is a huge part of it, and the customization, because the characters look better. They do in Darktide and Vermintide, because you actually, third person as well.
Halfway there, brothers. Keep it up.
Oh. A bunch of snipers, no less. And he pissed all over the floor. This is kind of a gross spot to be in. Argent Edge, peeking. Oh, I gotta make this area. This is a really good, epic place to be. Especially like there is some pop ramble in that area on me the entire time. I'll get rid of these guys. Okay. Let's... we're gonna go up here and deal with him.
The swarm has almost fully committed. Be ready for my mark.
We could just use that on Perk here. We have a relic, but I guess I will.
You are clear to detonate. Cook those rotten bastards. Yes, Captain. You heard him. Magazine out. Magazine in.
I just want to grab that.
Talassa, what in damnation is going
He's
on
gonna
down
shoot me.
there?
He's gonna shoot my ass. I can feel it. Yep.
All we have to do is
We missed. Dumbass. Yeah, like I was literally standing still, dude. We'll kill him. Cause we ain't no bitch. I'm not gonna leave that for the guardsmen.
Swarm annihilation confirmed. Excellent. Move to extract. On the whole, arriving at evac point. Ramp down and ready. We can make it. Keep going.
They're the best for like straight horde crew on this build though, so it's gonna be a little slow going. Like we have a lot of armor regen against them. It's just we don't have a lot of like
Priority one.
quick ways to kill them.
Extraction team en route. Evacuate immediately.
Can't leave. If we leave, then they won't die. I should wait for that.
Magazine. Did you not hear the lieutenant? Move to extract Talassa. Magazine out. Magazine in. Talassa evacuation is priority one. All specs ready to scan.
Shout out to the Necropolis Hawks. Yeah, they're my boys.
Extraction complete.
Everyone loves the Necropolis Hawks, right? I sure do.
Commendable work, brothers. You honor your chapter.
Correction, priority one is the Carnifex. That's true. I mean, like, leaving a Carnifex out in the field is probably a bad idea. That is kind of the whole reason we blew up the Promethean field in the first place, is to stop shit like that. Great getting back to work. Everyone have a great weekend. Take it easy, Tim.